Obviously, we got precedent with Gareth Southgate of the under-21 manager being promoted to the first team job. I think we all expect that Southgate might leave that position at the end of the next Euros, regardless of how well England do. Lee Carsley obviously has the accolade of winning that under-21 Euros. Do you see him as someone who could follow in Southgate's footsteps and make that same move up to senior level, or do you expect the FA maybe to look for a bigger name if Gareth does stand down?
Again, I think there's a situation there where I think Gareth will want to stay. I'm not so sure he'll want to go. He's got a job that he's really good at. He's part of a system. He's at the top of the system. He understands how the whole network works between the coaches. Lee is an excellent coach. Lee Carsley is an excellent coach. Brought him back in a couple of times to work with him. He's a terrific character, a really good guy, and a very talented coach. And if he keeps doing what he's doing, then he's going to ask the question if and when Gareth does decide to move on. If he keeps winning, then he's going to be in a position where he's going to be likely to be involved in the decision making around that.
Did you ever think you could be the England manager because you were the under-21 boss?
Yeah, I think who wouldn't want to be the England manager? I'm getting into poison chalice country now, aren't I? But yeah, representing your country, working at the highest and the best level with the best players. That's what I'm in football for, because as a scrawny 13-year-old running home from watching, Brazil play Italy in the 1982 semi-final, I've like all your listeners love football, clearly, or they wouldn't by listening to what you're saying. So that is what the aim is. Is it a bit too late now? Well, if you'd have asked that 34-year-old, he would have said, no, I've got plenty of time. But at 52, I think we'll have to just see how it goes.
But do you think that sometimes the England manager's job is even more difficult now than it's ever been before? I obviously followed England over the course of the last 40 years, but more closely even in the last 10 years. Yeah. And going to those press conferences, turning up at those big events before games start. There's so much talk about other things that are going on in the world rather than just football. Yeah. The manager has to be almost a politician, a flag bearer, a leader of the country, let alone just the leader of 23 players that have been selected to play in a tournament or in a match. Would you find that difficult? Do you think it's too much for Gareth to have to deal with?
I know, Sam, when I used to go into a press conference, that I'd have about 5 questions before we got to... This was at under-21 level. I'd have about 5 questions before we even got to the football. So in Gareth's case, you're talking about, does he have to be... He said himself about, he's having to ask and deal and fend off questions that he shouldn't really have to deal with. But people want an opinion, people want copy. So he obliges them in that. So it's... if it was just all about football, it'd be terrific. It's clearly not.
Why do you think that is? Is there a political vacuum that people always sought out other moral guidance from people who aren't involved in politics, people they look up to?
I'm having to think harder than I think, even answering that question.
That's how hard it's become. There you go.
Yeah, it is, but, it is part of the England manager's toolkit is at this current time that he's got to be able to deal with those. And you look at him and you feel for him in his press conferences, you think, well, go on, ask him a football question, please.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.